Executive Finance Committee meeting to order. Councilor Buzzard, would you do our invocation?
Yes.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here today to make the decisions for the Cherokee people and the Cherokee Nation, we ask that you place your hand upon us to help make the right decisions. We ask you to keep your hand and bless our troops that serve here and overseas. On our drive home this evening, keep us all safe from harm. And we ask all of this in Christ's name. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Kara Callan-Watt. Ahani. Will England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Yeah.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden. Jody Fishenhawk. Here. Meredith Fraley. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Hannah Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Christo.
Here.
David Thornton. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the December 15th
So
regular
moved.
session. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next we have our reports. The first is our financial treasurer's report. Ms. Ketchum.
Good afternoon, Council. You have my written report. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer it.
Yes. Councilor Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So on your monthly report, I just want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. So in the first month of the fiscal year, 85.8% of all bids or transactions over $5,000 went to a tarot vendor out of the tribal government.
That's correct.
And so of the under $5,000 worth of transactions, and that first amount was the total of the 5.2 million.
Right.
So then the no bids that were submitted by tarot vendors were an additional 2 million in the first month of the fiscal year, right?
Yes.
So effectively.
Oh, I apologize, Kara. This is 2 months ending November 30, so that's 2 months.
Okay. Oh yeah. So the first 2 months. So we're doing exceptionally well, at least on the tribal side for tarot then.
Yes, on things that are bid out, 85% went to tarot vendors. On those where a tarot vendor bid, the $2 million number is the items that were put out for bid that no tarot vendor bid on.
Okay, so the things that are excluded from that, that's not our total spending, but we can't account for, like if it goes to a hospital or it goes to a government that we have a contract with, that's not something we can bid and that tarot people would be able to participate in. That's just the contract for contract health money and those things. But of the biddable items, we're probably looking at 90%, probably about, or more of going to tarot vendor out of government spend in the first 2 fiscal months.
On the items that we bid out.
First 2 months of the fiscal year.
On the other under 5,000 items, we have not come up with a good way to get a report on that yet because there's such high volume. But it is our policy on anything under 5 to try to place that with a tarot vendor first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Fishenhawk.
Yeah, I want to talk to the under 5,000 that you're saying is such a high volume that we can't get a count on it. When will we get a count on it, especially if it's such high volume?
Well, when I say high volume, there's lots of small orders. We are working with the IT department, but we're also working with One Stop. I don't know when that's going to be available. One of the things that we're trying to do is get the NACE codes in the vendor master and make sure that we have all of the tarot certified vendors identified in the vendor master. So there's a lot of maintenance that is going on at this time. But I assure you we're working on it and we will get it to you just as quickly as we can.
How much would you say the total of the under 5,000 is?
I don't know. I would have to run a report. I can do that and get it back to you.
Okay, is it less than the 5.2?
I
You
don't
really
know.
can't say that?
I don't know.
So it may be over. It's okay anywhere. Okay.
I
Would you
could
run that
certainly.
report and send it out to us,
Yep.
please? The other question is, can you tell me about the financing of Anita, Salina, what we're doing, are we floating bonds, what are?
We issued a request for financing proposals, and the first go-round, we got 2. Doug and I met and reviewed those, and we put it back out to, with a few changes in the assumptions, and right now, we are reviewing 4 responses. So I've been working with Doug on that, and we hope to have something to bring to the council, you think by next E&F? Couple of weeks, we should have something to bring forward. It's a really tough financing market right now. I'm just amazed when you talk to some of these bankers, the type of collateral and pledges they want for a $30 million loan.
Okay, I'm curious, what's our bond rating?
Pardon me?
What is our bond rating?
Our existing bonds are an average of 4.3. There's 3 different tranches. One is 4.1, one is 4.3, and one is 4.6.
Councilor Hoskin.
Councilor Fishing addressed it with respect to the clinic financing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do you have anything further to add?
No.
Are there any other questions of Ms. Catcher?
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next, Cherokee Nation Entertainment, Mr. Slayton.
Good afternoon, Council. Dave couldn't make it this afternoon. I'll give a brief, short report about the month of December for both C&E and C&B. At C&E, the December net income was $4.9 million compared to 6.4 the year before. And net income is 38% below C&E's budget of 8.2. December revenue was below the prior year by $1 million and was below budget due primarily to generally forecasted higher gaming revenues. The gaming market across not just Oklahoma but the nation is soft, and in fact I think Oklahoma's probably fared better than most other gaming markets, and typically December you'll see historically here is probably our softest month. January, the first couple of weeks generally is slow, and then it starts to build. The last couple of weeks of January and February is a better month, and March is usually our best. And we were kind of looking to January to be an indicator if that trend was going to hold, and I think the weather played a role in us not having any ability to forecast that because of all the bad weather that we've had. So hopefully the trend will continue where February will be a takeoff month and March and April will both be good months. The operating expenses were down. We've really hit our expense side hard and trying to hold the line there and just wait out the market, wait out the economy, and be positioned to come back into the market strong. Operating highlights, expansions at Catoosa, continued construction on the event center. Looks really nice. If you're up there, holler at me and we'll take you on a little tour of that. We expect to have that ready in August and probably our first concert the first part of September. West Siloam, the banquet room is ready. It's been open. They've had banquets there. It turned out really nice. They can section that off into 4 smaller areas and hold smaller meetings or one big banquet facility. The hotel's on track to open June the 10th. Cherokee employment holds at 58.3, Native American at 69.2, and really what we're focused on now is trying to increase revenue and hold down expenses. And that pretty much sums up C&E for the month of December. If there are any questions
of Mr. Slayton on C&E? Yes, Mr. Thorne.
How many is this convention center going to hold?
The event center will hold approximately 2,500. It's going to be very nice.
Councilor Sutton.
Yes. What are some of the
indicators that you're looking at as far as when you will determine what will constitute an economic recovery, or where people are getting more confidence to go out into spending entertainment dollars? You know, is there anything out there that you can divulge that you guys are looking at?
Well, we, kind of like all the other businesses, the general economic outlook is predicated in large part on sales tax collections across the state. You know, the price of oil in Oklahoma is important. It's starting to hover around $75 to $80 a barrel. That generally starts being a point where people enter the market, back drilling and things like that, and just overall just the same indicators that all other businesses look to. And for us, I don't know that we've necessarily seen a decline so much in attendance as it has been. Probably people are just more careful with their money when they're out there. They might play a denom that allows them to stay on the game longer and spend a little less. So, but overall, I think Oklahoma gaming market, although it's down, it's not been impacted nearly like Atlantic City or Vegas or Tunica. C&B. The monthly net income in December for all entities underneath C&B's umbrella was $5.2 million. Consolidated net income was above November's net income by $700,000. We have the BOA loan facility there. At the end of December, there were $47 million outstanding on that, and $56 million outstanding at the end of January. Operating highlights of the subsidiaries. CCRC is currently estimating a new design-build contract for Dover Air Force Base, and it has the potential to generate $12 to $13 million in revenue over 2 years. It's not included in what they have budgeted. They're still trying to win that particular contract. APSC negotiated a 6-month extension to June 30th on the Boeing Wichita bin management contract at a reduced activity level and monthly fee to assist Boeing in its cost reduction requirements. They anticipate a potential increase in Wichita in 2011. They also are awaiting a decision on the KC-135, which was submitted in October. They'd hoped to hear something in January, and I don't have an update whether that news came through or not. And everybody is, you know, just like C&E and most other businesses, they're just trying to do what they can to keep the revenue up and keep their expenses down. And that is pretty much it for C&B. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer them.
No questions for Mr. Slayton on C&B. Councilor Calvin Watts.
And it actually applies to C&E and C&B. I didn't want to ask it at full council, but it was the report that came to us from C&E, C&B on recycling at the bottom of the monthly report. And it didn't include bottles. Are we not recycling glass now? Okay.
Yeah. My understanding is that we're, as a company, recycling about 24 tons a month of all material. Paper, glass, styrofoam, whatever.
No, it's significant, and I appreciate it. Just
Plastic,
didn't have, it had plastic and paper broke out, and then other, but it didn't have glass, and I thought it was its own separate item. So.
Well, I'm not sure, but I do know that we are recycling the bottles from the bar area.
No, that's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I say that. Gina? Is that a true statement?
I just don't know the report. I will ask.
Okay, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Any other questions? Thanks, Sean. Next is Cherokee Nation Industries, Mr. Warstaff.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm reporting on the month of November. Results for the month of November, our budgeted revenue was $8,188,000. Our actual revenue was $7,849,000. Operating profit was $67,000 versus a budgeted loss of $284,000. So we exceeded our budget by $351,000. On a year-to-date basis, through November, our actual profit is $232,000 versus a budgeted loss of $677,000. So versus budget for the first 2 months, we're doing quite well, exceeding our budget target. Regarding our 2009 performance, our 2009 audit report will reflect a loss of $2,173,000. Previously, I reported a loss to you of $1,089,000. That difference is a result of an adjustment we made in December, retroactive to 2009, for remediation expenses incurred at the Bentley Park project. That project loss totaled $1,621,000 for the project, and just about all of that was in 2009. Answer any questions?
When did y'all realize that construction management year was going to be a loss?
At the end of September, included in our preliminary results, we had a $484,000 loss for Bentley Park. In October, we had a $26,000 loss, and then in the month of November, we had a $136,000 loss. We knew we were going to have to go back and make a retroactive adjustment for 2009, and what we wanted to do is wait till December till we had a clear picture of what all of the expenses would be, so we made one adjustment. We had till the end of January before we were going to issue the audit report, so we made that adjustment in December.
Okay, when we met in the summer, you told us that the Bentley project was going to break even, and since then we realized there's going to be about $1.5 million loss. How quick did y'all realize that between the time we asked in the summer and when the time you reported it? I mean, can we have that conversation in this?
May I speak to that?
Yeah.
Mr. Coppins.
Okay. We had a meeting, a briefing meeting on August 21st that reported the job to be best case break even or lose money. At that time, what I did not realize was the remediation work that needed to take place, from poor workmanship in certain areas of subcontractors that was not realized, it was not known at the time. So we had to survey the property, we shut down the site, surveyed the property, and had to re-engage activities in October and November to repair and replace a lot of the work that was installed.
Okay.
So at that time, when we reported this, I gave the best information that I had available to me at that time.
How can CMI, which concerns me because it's in my district and employs
Yes.
a great deal of Cherokee people, continue to sustain itself if we keep having these losses year after year?
CNI does not plan on taking any additional construction projects going forward.
No more. Okay, what would its profit or loss be if we didn't have the construction on? I'm kind of curious.
Well, it would have been about the loss would have been about $600,000.
Okay, out of all the construction we done last year, can you tell me which ones are profitable? Because you all gave us a list at that meeting of the different projects going on.
I can get that for you.
And you can tell us which one's profitable?
I can get that for you. I don't have it with me now.
Okay. What did you all do once you realized Bentley was going to be a loss? you talk to that again? Because I'm still confused about the August meeting.
Okay. Well, at the August meeting, we knew the best case scenario would be a break even at that time. The completion of the project going forward, when you said when we recognized there was going to be a loss on the project, make sure, if you rephrase that question, I want to make sure I answer it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
What did we do when we realized there was going to be a loss?
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about the steps you took, because we talked about in here that night, that evening.
Okay.
What did you do after that? You know, we talked around it and person in general and what have you.
Oh, okay. I was trying to understand. The individual that we had talked about at that time in that meeting has been terminated, and there is a termination appeal hearing in process, so I can't speak too much to that matter as to any of the results of that. So that's still ongoing.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that's the question that you're asking, that I'm answering that correctly.
Okay, so most of these losses of the Cherokee people's money, we're going to blame on him?
We're mitigating. I'm going to go back to my notes here to try. We're going to mitigate the loss by exploring recovery options. The process will take time and require internal and external resources. I've asked for assistance from Mr. Slayton, C&B Legal, as well as with our internal audit, Sharon Bertram, to review the processes and contractual requirements to help ensure that all the controls are in place and that we've explored all the options to recover.
Okay, part of these questions, Brian, arise from the fact that today we appointed somebody to the medical arm of y'all's company that's also on the C&B board, and Tina brought up a point, and I voted against it because I had a problem appointing somebody to that board that's already on another board that incurred so many losses. And a lot of these questions I've asked is addressed to that fact. I talked to y'all's board today by phone call, and I'm going to tell you real blunt what I told him. I have a problem with it when 6, 7 numerous council members come to you all and have a problem with the same person. We talked to y'all about it. I felt like it fell on deaf ears. And this concerns my people in Adair County, and they have to worry about their jobs. So when it fell on deaf ears, and we was able to provide proof of lien of different judgments and courts, I'm curious as to why it took so long to react. And that's what I addressed to him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Jordan.
Brian, this individual that apparently has lost this almost a little over $2 million on this one project, was there a background check conducted on him prior to his hiring?
Yes.
Did anybody pay attention to the background check?
Well, there's various types of background checks. The background checks typically in that role was for a financial background check, a lot of different positions, reference checks, but I think the background check that you're speaking to was brought forward after this employee had been with us for quite some time, and we did review and investigate that. So I would say it's not something that we would be satisfied with, but it was at a point where we were making a decision on being able to bond or not bond, and that if the bonding was not able to take place, when we reviewed it and reviewed the information, it was discussed with the underwriter going forward. If they were not going to permit the bonding, then we were going to have to take some other actions. But upon the review of all that information, of someone's personal information, and reviewed the facts, then at that time, when we made that decision, we felt like that there wasn't a high risk at that time. I mean,
The fact that he's got numerous judgments against him didn't make you think he was a high risk to be left with a almost $250,000 ability to hire sub-vendors?
the information that was brought forward.
We're not mentioning any individuals' names,
Okay.
but a public record,
Okay.
there's numerous filings, numerous judgments that would bring into question someone's ability to handle a $250,000
Okay.
ability to approve a contract. And in fact, he was allowed to exceed that, is that correct?
Well, not allowed.
But he did.
He did.
Now, who was watching him? Who was his supervisor?
That would be me.
Did you not notice all this money was being approved without your approval?
It was brought to my attention as soon as it came into the finance department. Is
it slow to come in? Is that why we lost $2 million?
At the time that he brought it forward, he hand-delivered those invoices to accounting without the contractors, without the contracts or the supplier approved and gone through our approval process. So it was brought to my attention as soon as it happened.
Well, I see all the attorneys jumping up, so I'm going to get off that subject. But I have another question.
Okay, Mr. Embry, did you have?
Well, I know when we're discussing instances like this, it's a fine line, and as Councilor Jordan, she's been very good, not to mention any names, but still, if it gets down to such a narrow field that that person can be identified, it still is an issue. However, and I was talking with if the council wishes to have more of a more frank discussion, I believe that this would be an item that would qualify under the Constitution for executive session. Under Section 6, all meetings of the council of its committees shall be open to the public except A, when the discussion shall concern employment, retention, or discharge of personnel. B, when the question of moral turpitude of any citizen is discussed. So,
And I may well ask for
Yeah.
that, but at this point I have a few more questions if I could. And I'll get off of that issue. I had asked Doug for a summary of CNI's financial results over the last 4 or 5 years. And he's reported to me that we have cumulative losses since 2005, of over $9 million. I guess my question is, how long have you been employed there, Mr. Collins?
I started in August of 2005.
And we have lost $9 million while you've been employed there. Now I would like to ask for that executive session, because there needs to be a lot more discussion about this. Folks, we are bleeding money over there.
Is that a motion? For
It's a
executive
motion.
session?
Second.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. We will go into executive session. We will.
Do we need to designate who gets to stay?
Pardon?
yeah.
Do we need to designate who gets to stay? Todd?
Mr. Collins and Mr. Hembry?
I would suggest,
Todd?
in light of, I don't know how to say this, that C and B, C and E, however we want to do it, C and E, C and B,
And Sean, go
Secretary
ahead.
of State, does she get to stay?
Why don't we?
Agreeable?
I want to ask Doug to stay too, because he
He's
has
already
the
named him.
numbers.
He's already named him.
it's Captain.
The live feed.
Okay, the live feed can stop and
Yes.
still record, share videos.
Time.
Do we need a representative from the AG's office?
Callie.
Todd, does we have to record this separately and it be put in the vault?
Yes, our practice in the past is to put in a new tape for recording. It is to be off the video. Okay, and that would be taped separately and sealed and kept separately.
I need to get a blank.
I would ask the chair that we only have the individuals in the room as we need them to answer questions. We can call them in. I think that's the most appropriate thing on a executive session is.
Okay, only one person at a time?
Uh-huh.
And-
Well, I think we need Todd
I was
in
gonna
here
say,
the
what
whole
about our
time.
attorney? Excuse me.
I would say we need